Celebrated actor Ian McShane tells the astonishing true story of a disaster waiting to happen. A disaster that could bring catastrophic loss of life and destruction to central London and surrounding areas. The Wreck is a powerful documentary revealing the facts about this lethal legacy of the Second World War. Now available for licensing in all territories.
This is the Thames estuary. Here, less than 30 miles from the suburbs of the capital, little more than a mile from the holiday beaches of Sheerness and Minster, lies the wreck of the American Liberty ship, Richard Montgomery. But this is no ordinary wreck. 12 warning buoys are the only indication that an exclusion zone exists. Within this area, exposed to the elements, lies the American cargo ship. 440 feet long, its back broken, carrying over 3,000 tons of munitions, including 1,400 tons of unexploded bombs, enough to cause extensive damage to buildings and infrastructure within a 10 to 25-mile radius.
The ammunition and explosives have been on board since 1944. As the wreck continues to disintegrate and the bombs move around, the more dangerous it becomes.
The Richard Montgomery was one of 2,710 cargo ships manufactured at American shipyards during the Second World War. These no-frills carriers were to become known as Liberty ships. Their purpose? To transport arms and supplies to the Second World War zones of Europe and the Pacific. Franklin D. Roosevelt, the United States President, declared that these ships would bring liberty to Europe and victory to the Allies.
Liberty ships were what won the war. I mean, it got the supplies where they were needed.
There were 2,710 Liberties. 243 were lost in the course of the war. There's a pin for every loss. Right there, that orange pin, is the Richard Montgomery.
Today, only 2 of the so-called Liberty ships remain operational. The John W. Brown, berthed in Baltimore, and the Jeremiah O'Brien in San Francisco. They function principally as museum ships, with volunteers recalling their heroic wartime feats that helped many nations ensure their freedom. When the war ended in 1945, the leading bomb disposal expert, Major A.B. Hartley, assessed the state of the wreck and its lethal cargo.
And his statement to the Parliament of the day was, leaving the vessel alone is not an option.
Periodically, unexploded bombs are washed up on shore or caught in fishing nets.
We do get shells and at times. Yeah, I think there's been a mine caught there. There's always this big worry that if it does go up, there's going to be a massive tidal wave and shipping get washed away.
Attempting to offload the bombs would not only cause logistical problems, it would also be highly dangerous.
The problem is this: you would have to evacuate the whole of Sheppey pretty well if you were going to start messing around with that ship. And in the real world, for a government to evacuate from their homes 40,000 people and all the businesses associated with the generation of the economy on Sheppey, and expect months later everything to return to normal is simply fanciful. It's not going to happen.
Experts have calculated that the potential explosive velocity of the bombs remaining on the wreck equates to more than half of the bombs that obliterated Dresden. It's impossible to imagine the devastation that might be caused if any of the bombs on the Richard Montgomery were to explode.
If that ship was to go up now, what the worst that would happen is there'd be a tsunami.
The Thames Barrier opened in 1982 and is already under pressure from the increased volume of water caused by global warming. Experts have suggested that waves of anything between 4 and 16 feet could surge into the Medway and along the Thames route depending on events. If adverse conditions were in place, could scenes like these really happen? So, while it continues to deteriorate, the Richard Montgomery remains a disaster waiting to happen.